Good morning to all of our viewers, and welcome to Instant Replay, North Georgia's only online live sports show. I'm your host, Lauren Hunter, and you may have seen me this weekend on BKP filling in for him on his show on Friday, Good Morning from the Office. And if you're joining us on this show because you watched that show, thank you for joining us. It's good to be talking about sports once more. And normally I have my co-host Dave Garner, you've probably seen on our show card there, that normally we have Dave in here with us, but unfortunately he is out of town this weekend. So I will be here, and then we also have our producer Josh. It's a great day to talk about sports. And we hope that you all had a great weekend. We had a lot going on in Team FYN Sports Country. So we're going to be talking about, of course, last week we talked about the Dizzy Dean Championship that we were covering. And then we had Championship Monday, so the game between the Clay County Swarm and Jackson County was played Monday night. We'll be talking extensively about that. And then, of course, we'll also be talking about some local high school sports, some athletes who've been going to summer camps around the country. And then finally, we will finish up with some regional sports. So if y'all are ready, we're going to get right into it. So the Dizzy Dean Championship coverage, of course, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we talked about it a lot last week on this show, and we actually had BKP in here talking about the game going into Championship Monday. So we mentioned that it was played between the Clay County Swarm and Jackson County, and it was great to be at White County this past weekend. Such a beautiful park. It's only been there, the baseball park has only been open for about 6 months. And it was great to be out in such beautiful weather. I want to say thank you to Joe and all of the White County Park and Rec staff for making us feel so welcome as we were covering this event. And we want to mention that Clay County was the victor of the Dizzy Dean Championship. And they were also the victors of the Diz tournament that we covered at Fannin County Park. So congratulations to these guys of the Clay County Swarm. And we're going to go through a play-by-play of this game. And there will be numerous pictures of players that we tried to get during the games. And Clay was the home team and Jackson was the away team. This was a great game. These were two amazing teams that battled throughout the entire time. Silas McDaniel scored to put Jackson County on the board in the very beginning. And then we had a good pop-up catch at third base by Landon Van Wormer. The ball was scooped up and thrown out for an out at first base by shortstop Chase Chandler. And we had a great catch out at center field by Mikey Castro. Now, I mentioned here that during the game, both teams were playing amazing defense. One thing that BKP talked about as we were going into this game, while we had a brief pre-game preview before the game, was that the teams didn't need to be throwing the ball around, because a lot of times you get these guys out here, they get excited, they just get in the moment and they throw the ball thinking that there will be a teammate on base that can get it and the ball gets past them. And BKP had said, the winning team is going to be the team that doesn't throw the ball around. And now both teams had a couple moments that the ball got past the catcher, but overall these teams were playing amazing defense. And we'll talk a little bit as we go through this play-by-play of players that had great catches here at base. And a leadoff single for Clay in the bottom of the second by Mo Walker. A great backhanded catch by Chase Chandler at shortstop for an out at first base in the bottom of the second inning. Another note I want to mention, shortstop Chase Chandler and third baseman Landon Van Wormer were doing awesome in their positions. There were numerous plays where Chase Chandler might have a backhanded catch, like I just said, or Landon Van Wormer might have a great pop-up catch. Just a great effort by both of these young men out at their positions. Want to give them both a shout out. And then we're going to continue on. A great catch by center fielder Kendall Boyer on the Clay County Swarm to get a runner out at first in the top of the third inning. And this play was so close that even BKP was caught off guard calling the game. He thought that Boyer wouldn't be able to get the ball to first base in time, but maybe for the second time in his life, BKP was wrong. And it was just great effort on Boyer's part, getting that ball from the field to the first baseman to get the Jackson County runner out. So we definitely want to mention that and congratulate Boyer. And then we had Mo Walker had a great catch out at right field. And then a good time to mention, as I did on last week's show, that these guys, when we were talking about them both on the broadcast of Dizzy Dean and then here on Instant Replay, I felt like we've been talking about major league players. That's just how great these guys were playing in this game. These were both championship-worthy teams that came out and just did so great both offensively and defensively, with great catches and then great fielding, great at-bat. I mean, just overall major league effort by these guys. And then we're going to continue with the play-by-play. Dawson Devane was the first to score for Clay and put them on the board. Cooper Matheson had an RBI to tie the game in the bottom of the third. Preston Wilson got a runner out at first after the runner turned in on the field instead of out. Now, I will admit, as I've been going along in this position, I've been learning a lot about the game. And one thing that I learned this weekend from watching this game was that when a runner gets on base, he's supposed to turn out as he's running in and not in. So there was a little bit of confusion on the runner's part as he thought that he was safe, but Preston Wilson got him out. So good job, Preston, for keeping an eye on that and for knowing your stuff. Owen Matthews got the final out of the third inning after he made a diving catch in left field, another major league play. Cole Hill hit a rip to the 250 mark on the field and got another RBI in to push Jackson ahead 4-3. I mean, talking about these teams, how they played great both offensively and defensively. I mean, you know, these teams, one would pull ahead and then the other would come back, and then the other would come back, and then it was just like they were neck and neck the entire time. It was a nail-biter for sure. Mikey Castro, who we talked about earlier, hit a leadoff triple in the bottom of the fifth for Jackson County. Then we had a pitcher-perfect bunt by Silas McDaniel, who we also mentioned earlier, brought in Castro and tied the game again. And then we had a pass ball by the Clay catcher to send in another Jackson runner to bring up Jackson 6-5. And then immediately after in the next inning, on the flip side, a pass ball by the Jackson catcher got the go-ahead run for Clay. And a final catch at first base got the Jackson runner out and won Clay the game 8-6. So it was neck and neck the entire time, but Clay County was able to pull ahead at the last minute to win the game 8-6. So I'll go ahead and apologize if I missed any great plays, but it was such a great game. There was so much going on. There was very little lull in the game. So it was hard for me to keep up with making notes because it seemed like as soon as I would look down to make a note about a play, there would be another great one happening. So I want to apologize if I missed anything, but overall I want to say congratulations to the Clay County Swarm and want to say good job on both teams for their great effort in this championship. So I want to give a shout out to BKP before I go any further. I want to say thank you for letting me co-host alongside of you. I learned a lot, and we had a great time out at Dizzy Dean this weekend. And of course, we always like to say thank you to the parents and members of the community who always thank us for our work. We want to say thank you for coming up and complimenting us during the games, between games, for our work, getting this broadcast out and taking pictures. We love to highlight and promote young athletes in a positive way. That's what we do here at Team FYN Sports. So we want to say thank you for letting us know how we're doing. We really appreciate it. And I want to mention a couple of comments that were given to us on our Facebook page. Always like to read these when they come in because it really shows how good we're doing and it makes us feel good to receive compliments like this. And Kathy McKay Caruso said, "Love watching the game. Thank you for recording it. Hope you will be covering the state championship. Love the commentary." Thank you, Kathy. We do our best with the commentary. BKP and I, we have a great time up there co-hosting together. Ginger Thomas commented, "Thank you for all the broadcasts and pictures. We do appreciate you all. You do a great job." Thank you, Ginger. And then from Brandon Matthew Thomas, I want to say thank you for all the work you put in for these kids. This player, Matthew Thomas, is my son. Me and his mom, Ginger Thomas, want to say thank you. Great picks. Hashtag Union County Panthers. Hashtag number 13, which is Matthew Thomas jersey number. Thank you for all of your kind words, everyone. We really appreciate it here at Team FYN Sports. It makes us feel great to know that you're out there watching and you're out there loving what we're doing. So I want to mention, don't forget that the championship game, along with all of the games from field number 4, which was where we were set up at White County Park, of the Dizzy Dean tournament, are on our YouTube channel. If you want to throw up that social card real fast, Josh, at FYN TV. If you like what you see, which I think you will, you can click the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Fetch Your News and, of course, Team FYN Sports. You can also go and like our Facebook page, which is where you're at right now if you're watching this broadcast, Team FYN Sports. During the break, you can also find Team FYN Sports on Twitter and Instagram. As you can see, our handles up there. And if you feel like you have some information you would like to share with us, whether you want to give a shout out to your favorite athlete or your favorite team, you can email us right there at teamfynsports@fetchyournews.com, or you can even give us a call at that number below. At Team FYN Sports, we are always highlighting and promoting young athletes in a positive way. And one way that we do that is by hearing from you guys in the community and from our viewers. So if you have a shout out to an athlete or a favorite team, send it on in and we'll make sure to get it in on the broadcast. So before we move on from the Dizzy Dean tournament, we wanted to mention that we will be broadcasting live on Team FYN Sports Facebook page tonight at 7 p.m. We'll be hosting a pizza party for the Dizzy Dean champions, the Clay County Swarm. So tune into that tonight to see us congratulate this team for all of their effort, both in winning the championship at Dizzy Dean this past weekend, and then of course their effort for winning the All-Star Diz Championship as well the couple weeks ago that we were out at Fannin County Park. These guys are just on top of their game, doing great stuff. Now moving on down through our lineup, we have some results from state this weekend. The Fannin softball 10U girls team went to state this weekend and they were the state runner-ups. These girls were out there battling all weekend and we were receiving updates about them. And we just want to say congratulations to you ladies for doing such an amazing job. I know that everyone over in Blue Ridge and in Fannin County is very proud of you. That's awesome that you girls go out there and you put in so much hard work. I mean, this is just evidence of it right here. You're runner-up at state. I mean, yes, you know, you didn't quite get it to the state championship, but you know what? Doesn't matter. You're still in it. You can still tell that you're putting forth that effort, going out on the field and giving it 110%. So congratulations, girls. We want to give you a shout out here at Team FYN Sports. So before we go to break, one event that I was able to cover this week is I had the opportunity to go out to the Union County FCA tournament that they held this weekend over at Union County High School and also over at Union County Middle School. So this was the Union County FCA basketball camp. It was their second annual. This was their second time holding it. Last year they hosted it as well. It took place starting Monday and lasted until Tuesday. And it was split between the Union County High School basketball court as well as the middle school basketball court because they had several teams that competed all from around North Georgia. And due to the number of teams that played, you know, they wanted to give the teams as many chances to play as possible. So they split them between the high school and the middle school. And both varsity and junior varsity, men's and women's teams attended. And on the final day when I was present, the women played in the morning and the men played in the afternoon. So it gave several schools from the North Georgia area the opportunity to see each other and to scrimmage each other before the preseason and then, of course, before the regular season in the spring. And you could see the effort by all of these teams out there as they were scrimmaging each other. Now, these games were scored, but they were not, there was no bracket, there was no championship. It was just a good way for these teams to get out and show their stuff and to show what they've learned so far in the preseason and during these summer camps. And it was also a good opportunity for me to go out and meet some of these players and to meet a couple of the coaches. So to all of you that I got a chance to talk to, it was great to talk to each of you. And I'm excited about seeing you guys potentially at some more camps throughout the summer And then, of course, as we go into the preseason and into the regular season. Now, we know that we're in the summer. It's crazy to think that we're only a week away from July, and we're going to be going into the football season and into the fall. And side note, there are only 68 days until college football. So I meant to mention that at the beginning of the broadcast, but we're almost there, everybody. We've almost made it to college football. But going back to basketball, these players are playing and practicing throughout the summer as well. And when we come back from a brief break, we'll be talking a little bit more about some players that have been going to camps and some teams that have been going to camps. And we can just see the effort that's being put in and the hard work that's going in by these players to perfect their sport as they're going through the preseason. So when we come back from break, looking forward to talking about some more athletes that have been going to some camps and talking about their accomplishments. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We will be right back.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and LJ, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN 10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
back, everyone. You're watching Instant Replay, North Georgia's only online live sports show. I'm your host, Lauren Hunter, and before we went to break, I talked about summer camps and some summer camps that I've been going to just to see some of the athletes, see what y'all are up to, see what y'all are learning, and then also get a chance to talk to a couple of the coaches. As a matter of fact, when I was at the Union County FCA tournament this past week, got a chance to talk to Pickens head coach Mike Duffy, and we were talking about sports during the summer. And one of my sayings I like to mention is, even though it's summer, the sports don't stop. And when I said that to Coach Duffy, he said, oh gosh, yeah, that's the busiest time of the year. So that's just one way to talk about how sports are 365 days a year commitments. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some summer camps that have been taking place around the area at some of our local high schools, and then also some athletes who are looking forward to their college careers, and so they have been visiting some college camps as well, some of which are by invite, so that's super impressive. So before we go into some athletes that have been going to camps, we want to give a shout out to Gunnar Stockton, who is the quarterback at Rabun County High School. Gunnar announced yesterday, or when I wrote this, it was yesterday, so 2 days ago, that he received an offer from the Alabama. Now, I know that we're in UGA country. I know that y'all probably don't want to hear me talk about Alabama. I know that's probably a curse word in these parts, but just want to give a shout out to Gunnar because that's very impressive to receive an offer from Alabama. So congratulations, Gunnar. Okay, UGA fans, I'll stop talking about it and we'll move on. But also over in Rabun County, we have Braxton Lee Hicks, who has visited several camps this summer, including Coastal Carolina and Tennessee Tech, as well as announcing that he has received an offer from the Air Force Academy. Keep it up, Braxton. Good luck and good job. Now we're trying to go county by county here. We want to make sure that we mention as many athletes as possible and give everybody as much as we can a shout out. So we're going into Lumpkin County now, and we have Cameron Simpson, who's a defensive lineman, and he represented his team at the Maryville College Prospect Camp this past week. Very impressive as well, Cameron. And then we also have over in Indians Country, Aaron Hopkins, who attended football camp at Yukon this week. And I've seen a lot on my timeline recently. I see a lot of posts from Aaron and some of the camps that he's been going to and a couple of offers that he has received. And this week he got an offer from the Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. Very impressive to all you guys that are getting offers from colleges already. So I'm excited to see all the rest of the offers that I'm sure y'all have coming your way. So like I said, we're trying to go county by county here. And we've got a lot of sports going on right now, a lot of practices and a lot of camps, not just football. I mean, summertime, we think, oh, it's going to be a lot of football going into the fall, but no, that's not necessarily the case. We've got lots of sports that are having camps. We've got basketball, football, volleyball, baseball, softball, wrestling even. The list goes on and on. And these are just all athletes that are putting in the hard work because they want to be the very best they can be. And one example of this in Lumpkin County is the women's basketball team. Now, just in the course of a week, they've been to 2 basketball camps, one in Jefferson and one at Georgia College. So these are some busy ladies. And just to sum up their week for you, let me read this tweet from their account that I saw. They played 13 games this week without a single drop in effort. We are tired and sore but unyielding. One more game tomorrow, which is today, and then a well-earned rest. We've made remarkable strides and now have a solid foundation moving into the fall. The future of Lumpkin women's basketball is bright. Sounds like it, ladies. Very, very great stuff seeing from these athletes, both from a team standpoint, such as the example of the Lumpkin women's basketball team, and then from an individual standpoint. We're going to be talking about a few more of those here in just a few seconds. Over in Fannin Rebel territory, we have junior quarterback Luke Holloway, who spent some time at Wake Forest this week for football camp. And then also over in Fannin, Miles Johnson, offensive lineman for the Fannin Rebels, got to hang out over at Vandy for a while at their football camp. And then Mason Bundy is another offensive lineman for the Fannin Rebels, and we have him on here. He was over at Notre Dame this past week for their football camp. So, and a side note that I have here in my notes is that how awesome it is to see the support from Coach Cheatham of the FYN Rebels, his replies and praise of his players on social media as they're talking about these camps that they've gone to. And he just replies to each one of them and says something great about his players. And this is such an important time in these young people's lives. And it's just great to see that they have support from awesome coaches like Coach Cheatham that they're no doubt looking up to. And they're going to remember this support for the rest of their lives, whether they keep playing football or not. They'll always look back and say, it was great to have those moments where I knew I could turn to Coach Cheatham and I could always rely on him to be there for me and to give me some positive shout outs. So wanted to mention that and talk about how great it is to see that, to see the positivity. That's what's so important in sports. It's competitive, but you can't do it without the positive reinforcement from your coaches. So great to see that. And I'm also noticing on this player's social media, talking about them going to these camps, a lot of them are by invite. And that's another thing I've been learning as I've been through this position, going through this position. You know, a lot of these athletes get invited to these camps, and a lot of that has to do with the potential recruitment opportunities. So it's really cool to see that. And congratulations to you guys and girls as you're going to these camps. And, you know, people are watching from colleges as well. So it's really, really exciting to see that. So another side note, we're talking about the countdown until football. And in the Mountain Football League, the MFL, there are only 79 days until kickoff in the Mountain Football League. And we do a lot of coverage with them because, of course, a lot of the teams from the area are part of this Mountain Football League. So we're super excited here. I'm definitely excited because this will be my first season with Team FYN Sports. And I am pumped for some football. I'm a football girl. If y'all haven't noticed, I love baseball, but I'm also a football girl. Now we're going to take a brief break from talking all about individual athletes and talk about some camps that will be taking place. So the Gilmer Bobcats football camp, we always like to bring up these football camps to give them some exposure. The Gilmer football camp will take place July 15th through 17th. The camp is open to grades 1st through 6th, and the cost to attend is $50. So we're talking about the Mountain Football League, and if you're interested in participating in Gilmer football, this is a great opportunity for you to go out and learn some stuff going into the fall. And also over in Gilmer, I'm going to bring in my producer, Josh. He has a couple of announcements, or an announcement from over there in Gilmer. Josh, what do you have for us?
Hey, so I was just going to say there was a fundraiser event for the Gilmer High School baseball team over the weekend. Well, it was Friday night. They had an alumni baseball game. It was the first one ever. Coach Thurman got it together. They had live pitching. I want to say there were about 30 guys that turned out for the alumni team. They got ahead early, and they were actually playing quite well, squaring up the ball well. Their pitching was not too bad at all. That we had people all the way back from the class of '04, I believe, all the way up to alumni from this year, the class of 19. They ended up losing 8-6. The current Cats did come out on top, but they were able to raise a lot of money, and there's a team picture of both teams. The alumni were wearing black, and the current Cats were wearing purple. But it was an awesome event. They're going to try to do it every year. Go buy some stock in Bengay and Icy Hot and everything, because I'm sure those alumni are going to be using up a lot of it. But that's it.
All right, thanks, Josh. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, so I'm glad you said it, but I was thinking about it while I was sitting here. These alumni, can make jokes about them being old or whatever, but I won't do that. I'll pass on that. But Josh, did you say this was their first time doing that?
Yeah, this was the first one, and they're going to try to make it an annual event.
Cool. Yeah, that's a really great idea. I know there are teams, I haven't heard about it particularly in this area, but I know that there are teams, where I'm from in Gwinnett County, they'll have alumni games occasionally. So
Yeah, we have it in basketball, I know. And then there's like an alumni association that does a football game every now and then that's only alumni. It's like the old guys from Gilmer versus the old guys from Pickens.
okay, so
Good fundraising events.
I bet that rivalry is still there, even though they're
absolutely.
alumni. That's hilarious. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really fun. I'm sure that's a fun game to be at. And, you can make those jokes about the alumni being old or whatever, but I would think that would be a fun event. That's really cool. So thank you for sharing that, Josh. And of course, we appreciate our producer, Josh, back there, who, he provides the picture right there, and he does a lot for us as far as making sure that everything's timed correctly and throwing up pictures and everything. So thank you for what you do, Josh. And normally I have my co-host Dave Garner here, but he is out of town, so I've been trying to bring Josh in as well so you don't have to just hear me talk the entire time. But thank you for bringing up that alumni game. And we're going to move over into, speaking of rivalry, we're going to go over into Pickens, talk about some stuff going over there in Dragon territory for a minute. We have two Pickens baseball players who performed extremely well in the 18U Perfect Game USA WWBA this past week. These two players are Caswell Smith and Brady Moore. They were each in the top spots for the pitching and batting events. Caswell in number 1 for pitching and Brady in number 1 for batting. Great job, gentlemen. Now, I hadn't heard of Perfect Game USA before I was seeing this on their social media, and so I looked it up. And Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, do you know a lot about this Perfect Game USA?
Yeah, it's an organization basically where a bunch of the top talent in the area gets on teams and they play, and it's a way to showcase their skills. A good way for colleges and pro teams to scout these kids without actually having to be there. You can get like an initial report on them. They report everything from 60-yard dash times to fastball velocity. I mean, everything.
Right. Yeah, I noticed yesterday when I was doing my research on this that it was a really good, or it is a really good opportunity as far as for scouting and potentially getting recruited. So, these two players, Caswell and Brady, getting in these top spots, I mean, that just shows how much talent they have. Am I right about that, Josh?
Yeah, you don't have any, below average players out here. Most of these guys are the top of their class. So to be in number 1 spot, that's saying something for them.
Exactly. Yeah, so congratulations to the two of you. Obviously, you're very great at baseball, so congratulations and keep it up. Now, also in Pickens, we have a wrestling camp coming up this week. This 3-day camp is called Pin to Win and will take place starting today and lasting until this Wednesday, the 26th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now, lead technician is Kobe Milner, who is a 3-time state champion in NAIA, National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics All-American. So if you're a Pickens Dragon that is interested in wrestling, you need to go check this camp out because it sounds like a lot of great stuff's going to be happening over there in Pickens this week. So we're going to take another break really fast, and when we come back, we'll be getting into some regional sports. That's all we have for local sports this week. But we'll be talking about our Atlanta Braves. And Josh, I'm definitely going to get you to chime in on this because Josh is our Atlanta Braves baseball guru. So stick around and we will be right back.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
Better days ahead. It's always Truck Month at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. And with our maximum discount guarantee, nobody else comes close. Now save up to $11,000 off Silverado crew cabs, or choose 0% financing for 72 months, or save up to $7,000 off Colorado crew cabs. The new truck selection is huge, and the discounts are unbeatable at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where it's always Truck Month.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and LJ, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN 10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Instant Replay, North Georgia's only online live sports show. I'm your host, Lauren Hunter, and I'm so happy to be here with you all talking about sports today. And if you're also loving what you're watching, which I hope that you are, follow us on social media, and you can see all of our social media right there on the show card in the TV screen. Check it out. We have Twitter, Facebook, which is what you're on right now, so give us a like, and Instagram, all the same handle, Team FYN Sports. And then also we have our own YouTube channel, which is FYN TV Fetch Your News. After the show, we always upload it to this YouTube channel. So definitely go subscribe to that. So after every time we upload something, you'll get a notification about it. And then we also always like to say that part of the reason we have some of the material that we do for the show is because of people like you that send in information. So if you have anything you want to send in, send it to that email right there. It is teamfynsports@fetchyournews.com. And then also the phone number is there below if you prefer giving us a ring. So before we went to break, we were talking about some individual athletes from the area, some high school athletes, and also some high school teams that have been performing extremely well and going through summer camps just to make themselves even better. But now we're going to transition out of our local high school sports and into our regional sports. So, of course, it's baseball season. So we're going to be talking about our Atlanta Braves. And we'll be going through the series. They've had 2 series this past week. We'll be going through those a little bit. And then also I'm going to bring in our producer, Josh, who'll be back there as well. And we'll bring him in because he is our Atlanta Braves baseball guru. Right, Josh? Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me that.
Yeah, exactly. So for the first series this week, they had a 3-game series against the Mets at home. That's our Atlanta Braves that we're talking about. They won the overall series, which you diehard Braves fans already know. But they won the first game 12-3, which included a 4-run homer by Ozzie Albies. Ozzie, as we know, is a phenomenal baseball player, and this dude is on fire. He had a tie-breaking 2-run single by Markakis and a homer by the man, Brian McCann. So the second game, they lost 10-2, but they bounced back, winning the third game 7-2 after a tie-breaking 2-run homer by Josh Donaldson in the 6th inning. So the Braves are doing extremely well in this series. And then series 2 for this week, 3-game series at the Nationals. They were home when they were playing the first series. They were at the Nationals the latter part of the week. They won this series overall as well, starting out with a loss 4-3, despite the debut of Dallas Keuchel. Got the name right that time, Josh. And then we have a picture there as well of Keuchel. And then in the second game, they rallied in the 8th inning after a 3-run homer by Dansby Swanson to blow past the Nationals 13-9. And that we know how the Braves love to rally at the end, and that's just an example of that. Finally, in the third game, they won 4-3. Despite having to remove starting pitcher Mike Soroka at the beginning of the game, he was hit in the right arm early on by the Nationals pitcher Austin Voth. And Josh Donaldson hit a home run, and Johan Camargo came out with a surprise 2-run homer, pinch hitting in the 10th inning. Now, this is also a great time to say how the Braves are on fire right now. Number 1 in the National League East. They are 46-32 this season with a .590 percentage and a winning streak of 2. Just doing phenomenal right now. And Josh, I know you're probably sitting back there dying to chime in. Why don't you do that?
All right. So you'll notice the picture I got up now says Vote Braves in the corner. Atlanta Braves had 7 people make it to the next round of voting for the All-Stars, which is the most in the National League. The rest of the National League East has a whopping 0. So Braves country did a good job getting that many guys through. We need to keep voting for them. I believe voting reopens Thursday or Friday. This year they're partnered with Google, so you can just search a player's name like Nick Markakis on Google, and it'll pop right up with the way to vote for him. So it's pretty cool. Also, you did say we're 46-32. We're 7-3 in our last 10. The Phillies are 1-9 in that same stretch, so that's helped us open up that 6.5 game lead. Also important to note, we have the second best record in the entire National League. behind just the Dodgers, who are just playing unbelievable baseball right now. The National League is a harder league this year. There's a lot of American League teams that are on pace for 100 losses. So your upper teams in the American League, their stats and their records just are really inflated right now. So to be 46-32, I'm pretty proud of where the Braves are, especially despite all the pitching woes that we've had this year.
Yeah, it's a great time to be a Braves fan, Josh. I mean, you can hear all of those facts and stats that he was just reading, and it's incredible. I mean, the Braves have always been, or at least for the last few years, have been, pretty good. But it's like this year, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just like all of a sudden, boom, they're fantastic.
Yeah, we got a lot of pieces that are coming into play at the right time. Josh Donaldson was a big signing in the offseason, and he's heating up now and showing us that he was worth the money we paid him. McCann's having a comeback here and playing like he did when he was with us the first time. A lot of young guys coming in. Like I said, there's still a lot of pieces that aren't working out, like Fulton Everett's just getting sent back down to Gwinnett to work on things. This time last year, he was on his way to his first All-Star game, having a phenomenal year, and now he's one of our worst pitchers. I think it's just he shortened up his spring training with an injury, and I think he just needs to go somewhere where there's not as much pressure and really work on things and get back to the form he was in last year.
Right, and that's unfortunate for Fulte, but I mean, it's like you said, we were talking before we came back live that, now that he's going to go down to Gwinnett, there's going to be less pressure. He'll be able to focus more on pitching without feeling the pressure of being in the majors, and just kind of be able to focus on getting back to where we know that he can be.
Yeah, it's a good place to work on things. Like Mentor went down for a few days, and he was able to get his cutter back. And Freddie Freeman even mentioned that just those few days in Gwinnett really made a difference in the way Mentor's approach was on the mound. So hopefully it works out that way for Fulte too.
Yep. And before we move on, Josh, I know I was talking about the game by game. Do you have anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I just love how the Braves, you can never count that team out. They can be down 1 or 2 or even 7 or 8, and they're going to come out there and really give it a shot to come back and win the game. It's amazing to me.
I'm seeing a trend. It must be a Georgia thing because and I know that's not the same, 12U baseball and major leagues, but we've been talking about these teams in in the 12U that you couldn't count them out, and then we're talking about over in the majors where you can't count the Braves out. I don't know. Maybe I'm grasping at straws there, but just seems like it's kind of funny that we've been talking about that so much here on this show. But anyway, we're going to take another break right here, y'all, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping up the show with a little bit of an opinion segment. I want to get Josh's opinion on something, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
Better days ahead.
It's always Truck Month at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. And with our maximum discount guarantee, nobody else comes close. Now save up to $11,000 off Silverado crew cabs, or choose 0% financing for 72 months, or save up to $7,000 off Colorado crew cabs. The new truck selection is huge, and the discounts are unbeatable at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where it's always Truck Month.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us once more on Instant Replay, North Georgia's only online live sports show. I'm your host, Lauren Hunter. We've been talking a lot today about local sports, local athletes who have been working hard, not taking time off, going to camps, and learning more about their sport during the summer. And then right before we went to break, we were talking about our Atlanta Braves, who are #1 in the National League East and just performing really well. And we're also going to be talking a little bit more about the Braves, although not just specifically them as far as playing, but of course we all know that recently pitcher Sean Newcomb suffered a hit on the back of the neck, a 102-mile-per-hour ball that came flying back at him off the bat of the batter, and it was just a scary moment. And we're going to watch that video really fast, Josh, if you want to roll that.
Pitch is hammered, it's hit off Newcomb. The ball will ricochet off the netting and into the Phillies dugout. Where did it get Sean Newcomb? Wow.
Really scary moment there. I mean, I didn't get to see it live, but when I heard about it, I immediately went and watched the video, and I cringed. I thought to myself, oh my goodness. I had an experience probably shouldn't even say this because it's not comparable hardly at all, but I did get hit by a foul ball once. And even in that moment, it was just like, whoa, where did this thing come from? But to get hit on the back of the neck by a 102-mile-per-hour ball, and then what was so incredible about that was not only was he alert, he walked off the field on his own power. And reports were coming in that he said he felt fine. A report even came in from Fox Sports, I believe, that he had cleared the concussion test. But the Atlanta staff decided that they weren't taking any chances, and he was placed on the 7-day IL. And he pitched in Gwinnett on Saturday, but he'll be coming back on Tuesday. He'll be eligible to return then. And just like I said, it's pain. I mean, it makes you wince. And I'm going to bring Josh back in for this. And, Josh, what are your thoughts? I mean, I'm sure you had the same reaction. You just winced when you saw that.
Yeah, it's hard to watch for sure. And I know you were wanting to talk about the netting, like speaking on getting hit with foul balls and stuff. Obviously, netting doesn't help players in any way. And I know you had mentioned how in softball they wear like the masks the pitchers do. I don't think you'll ever see that come to baseball. Maybe one or two if they're just really worried about it. As far as the netting goes, I know it's not the popular opinion, but I don't pay money to go to a game and watch through a net. If you're buying a ticket that's in harm's way, you know that you have a chance at a foul ball coming to you.
Right.
So you've got to be alert. Stay off your phone. Don't bring small children into that seat if you're not prepared to keep them from getting hit. I know when I take my nephew, we sit right on the front row, right next to the dugout. We've had many a ball come right at us, and I always sit closest to the plate so that if a ball comes that way, I can stop it from hitting him. It's part of the game. The Chicago White Sox recently just announced that they are extending the netting all the way down to the foul poles. So
Wow. Anybody
not sitting in the outfield is going to be watching baseball through the net. That cuts off a lot of fan interaction. Like you were mentioning earlier, Albert Pujols of the Angels came over and gave a jersey to a special needs child after the game, signed it for him, and was able to have that moment. And that's impossible if there's a net in the way. There's a lot of fan interaction that goes on and that blocks it. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. Now, I do know there was a kid hit in Houston the other day. Albert Almora hit a hit
I
with
saw
a foul
that.
ball, the Cubs, and you could tell that it shook him. And I hate that stuff happens, but don't put the kid in that situation. That's my thing. You shouldn't be there.
I 100% agree with you, Josh. I get the whole, the safety and everything. That's super important. And we're just glad that Newcomb and the young girl that was hit the other day, that they're okay, definitely. But you talked about the fan interaction, and that's another thing I wanted to mention. And I actually talked about this in my column this past week, Sports Talk Thursday with Lauren Hunter. You can go and read that on our website, fetchyournews.com. When you put up that much netting, it limits fan interaction from the players, but also limits the potential for getting a game ball. You know, a lot of people will sit in the outfield, and that's a good opportunity to get a ball. But also, I know when I worked in Gwinnett, a lot of people would get foul balls that came off the field, and the reason they were able to get that is because in Gwinnett, the netting is behind in the obvious places, which I agree you need netting in some obvious places, like directly behind home plate, and then maybe down along the baseline where the dugouts are to a certain point. 100% get that. But when you extend it all the way around, like you're saying the White Sox are planning to do, then you don't have that possibility of getting a game ball. And also you talked about buying the ticket and the seat and understanding the potential for foul balls or flying objects coming your way. A lot of ballparks have signs even. I know when I was in SunTrust last year, even as far up as like the third level, they had signs if you were in like close to the front row, which we were. They had signs that said, watch for foul balls or other flying objects like bats, because bats also sometimes can fly up that way. And so, yes, I understand that parks should take precautions for fans, you know, some netting in some areas, but also I agree with you, Josh, that when you buy that ticket, you should also understand to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, netting right behind home plate, those people are sitting on top of the field and a ball can be on them in a split second.
Exactly.
So that obviously makes sense. But further down the field, there's time to react as long as you're paying attention.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to get hit, then buy a seat somewhere else. That's how I look at it.
Right. And I touched on a little bit ago how I got hit one time by a foul ball, but I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I'll just be honest. I'll admit it. I wasn't paying attention, and that's a lot of the reason why I got hit, because I saw it come our way, and I thought, oh, it's going to go behind us. Well, it ricocheted, and it hit me in the side of the face. So, I mean, yeah, it was coming from behind. There wasn't a whole lot I could do, but if I had been paying better attention, I probably would have been able to move out of the way in time because I had the time for it to ricochet and come back. So, anyway, but like I said, just glad that Newcomb, you know, he's going to come back tomorrow, Tuesday, because he was on the 7-day IL. Glad that he's okay. And as far as we know, the little girl that was hit earlier, she was okay too from what I saw, because I saw the same report that you did, Josh, and it said that she was alert, and other than the fact she was a little shaken up, you know, she was okay. So definitely glad to see that. And it looks like that's all the time that we're going to have for this week's edition of Instant Replay. I want to say again, thank you, Josh, for chiming in, for joining us. And, of course, if you like what you see, go give us a like here on our Facebook page where we're at right now, Team FYN Sports. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right there, FYN TV, Fetch Your News. And then, of course, if you have any sort of comments or shout-outs that you'd like for us to include in the broadcast, send it to our information there as well. And that wraps it up for this week's edition of Instant Replay. I'm your host, Lauren Hunter. Thank you for being here with us. Have a great Monday and enjoy the rest of your week.